If you can't sleep, get up. Because when you can't sleep and you try to sleep, you practice not being able to sleep.
Right.
So pretty obvious, isn't it? So as you say, well, I can't sleep, therefore I'm not going to sleep, and then you just focus on things that take the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance when you can't sleep is not trying to sleep. That's the path of greater resistance. Does that make sense? A little bit of sense?
It does. It's hard to imagine getting up when the thing you're wanting the most is to be able to fall asleep. It's hard to imagine.
But let's talk about that. The thing I want the most
in that moment
is to be asleep because why?
What I'm wanting is to feel rested and vital in the following day.
But you see, you have no power in the following day. All of your power is right here and now. You can't find the path of... So what you're saying is, I need the path of least resistance for tomorrow, and the path of least of resistance for tomorrow is to be rested. But you can't do anything about tomorrow. You can only choose your path right here and now. Mm-hmm. That's like embarking on a 1,200-mile journey and trying to figure out what turn you're going to make at the end instead of what you're going to do right now. You can only find the path of least resistance now. So what's the path of least resistance? So let's say you feel desperate for sleep because you've convinced yourself that tomorrow's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. So you feel desperate for sleep. What's the path of least resistance? I can't sleep, or I must not need to sleep.
I must not need to.
Now, that was a hard choice for you, but it was a choice that you made that is in alignment with where you would be in that situation. Must not need to sleep. Which is the path of least resistance? I'm going to be so tired tomorrow, or I don't have any power over tomorrow, I only have power over now. Which is the path of least resistance? I can't sleep, or it's nice to just lie here. Which is the path of least resistance? Tomorrow's going to be really hard, or this bed is really soft. Which is the path of least resistance? See what we're getting at? Which is the path of least resistance? I'm going to be so tired tomorrow, or there's nothing that I have to do right now. Which is the path of least resistance? I'm going to be groggy and tired tomorrow, or I have nothing that I have to be alert to right now. See what we're getting at? Path of least resistance. I'm in bed and I'm not sleeping. What might I do? I can feel the bed. I can appreciate the blanket or the pillow. I can worry about tomorrow, but that's not the path of least resistance. Or I can just appreciate the bed.
Abraham, my question is for myself, but for all the people that have a hard time sleeping. I think part of it is about the mechanics of what I heard you say earlier. It was really touching to me about really accepting where I am now.
Well, that will keep you awake. In other words, if life has caused you to become something more, and for whatever reason you're not letting yourself go, there's an uneasiness that's hard to deal with. Why do you want to sleep anyway?
It feels good. It feels rejuvenating.
Well, it is rejuvenating for this reason. Let's talk about this from the flow perspective. So as you move through life experience, you go to sleep and you become one energy. You wake up, and depending upon what you're thinking about, you may, if you're afraid of something, you really have split energy. If you're worried about something, not so much. If you're optimistic, hardly split at all. When you're really in love, you're one pure positive energy stream. When you are arguing with someone, you split your energy. When you meditate, you become one stream. In fact, that's the reason we teach meditation, is that when you meditate, you quiet your thought. When you quiet your thought, you stop any contradictory thought. When you stop any contradictory thought, you close the gap and you're offering one stream again. again. When you wake up, depending upon what you've been thinking about and what's most active in your vibration, you split your energy. When you go to sleep, you're one energy stream. And that is the refreshment factor. That's it. You can rest while you're sitting in the chair. You can rest while you are taking a walk. In other words, your body does not need inaction. The sleeping really is 100% the rejuvenating factor, about the opportunity for you to close the vibrational gap and stop the resistance or the tug of war. Now, meditation is really a more powerful tool than sleeping, because when you meditate, you're awake, you're alert, you're aware of your vibrational relationship, and you are deliberately quieting your mind. You're deliberately focusing your mind in a way that allows the closing of the gap. While you sleep, it is happening at such an unconscious level that when you wake up, you're more likely to beat the drum of the things that you've been thinking about right where you last left it. And so, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would begin by saying, sleeping is not what it's cracked up to be, and it's really not understood very well. And while I do like the rejuvenation of slumber, I can find rejuvenation in other ways. Have you ever heard anybody say, he sleeps like a baby? Meaning he's not worried about this and that and the other. He's not worried about how he has to pay the rent. He's not worried about who loves him and who doesn't love him. In other words, the reason that the baby can slumber so easily is because there is never that much of a gap. And if there's anything that keeps you in that restless state, it is that contradicted energy. Lie in your bed and say to yourself, whether I sleep or not, I definitely am going to relax. And then say to yourself, whether I sleep or not, I love the comfort of this wonderful bed. Say to yourself, whether I sleep or not, isn't it nice that I have this time opportunity, that I can just set everything else aside, nothing needs me right now, where I can just enjoy the comfort of this bed. And then lie there and focus upon the comfort of the bed. Focus upon what it's made of, and focus upon the way it receives your body. Focus upon the comfort of the covers that are covering you. Feel the deliciousness of the fabric that is touching your body. And as you focus with appreciation upon these things, it's better than meditating, because in that deliberately looking for something to feel good about, you close that vibrational gap. And as you close that vibrational gap, if you've decided that you want to sleep, there will be no resistance that will keep you from it, and you'll drift right off to sleep. And it will be a sleep that will be restful. If you don't go to sleep, say to yourself, no problem at all, because I've accomplished here, or I'm working to accomplish, or I'm pointed in the right direction of accomplishing what slumber is about anyway, you see. You come into these physical bodies with such eagerness, and the more connected to source energy you become, the more you begin to hear the call of source. And the call of source is louder and louder and louder the closer you get to it. And so many of you are hearing the call of source, which is, Esther woke up this morning at 4:30, and she's just beginning a whole new book, and we've just given her the outline about it, and she's feeling very much excitement about it because she can feel the power of this book. And she woke up this morning much earlier than she intended to wake up, and laid there and just allowed the book to sort of roll across her mind. And she smiled a big grin, and she thought, should I get up and start writing this down, or should I just enjoy it? And we said, just enjoy it. We want you to just begin to feel the movement of this book. When source is calling you, you don't want to sleep through it. You want to wake up. You want to experience it. Jerry hardly sleeps at all. He goes to sleep and he wakes up and then he works on something. Then he'll sleep a little and he wakes up and he works on something. The call of source is so loud within him. And it isn't because he can't sleep. It's because he's being rejuvenated by other things other than sleep. Sleep is for rejuvenation. And the less rejuvenation you need because you're keeping yourself tuned through the power of the direction of your thought, then the less you'll want to sleep.